Welcome to everybody in Charlotte. I'm your host, Marinator, Meredith Dean, and I am so excited because we have one of my favorite content creators in Charlotte today who's joined us. So Jessica Hensen is an amazing human being. She's House of Hensen on Instagram, also has a background in HR, worked with Red Ventures, went to University of Tennessee, go Vols,
Go
awesome,
Vols.
even though I went to Georgia. But we're very excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining at Everybody Studios.
Thank you so much. I am truly honored to be here. You are amazing, and I'm so happy and thankful that you wanted me to be here, and I'm happy to be here, so thank you.
Of course, it just makes sense because I was telling you, I love your content because even as someone without children, I feel like you've brought out a lot of the inner child in me, and I'm seeing activities in Charlotte in a whole different way. So I'd love to know some of maybe your favorite activities in Charlotte, and then also how people can support you in everything that you're doing.
Sure. So the list is always very long. I love Charlotte. I am such a fan of the city, and I think that there's just so much for family. So when I start to think of my favorites, I'm like, and then this one, and this one,
and this, and
one.
this, and this.
But this time of year, especially, it's spring. This is my favorite season in Charlotte. My mind immediately goes to outside. So I love the new Stream Park in Ballantyne and all that is being built up there. So the bowl coming, I think, soon. I love that. I think it's just really well done, and we spend a lot of time out there. A lot of people don't know this, but Charlotte actually has 20 nature preserves, actually Mecklenburg County, and these are places you can go that have playgrounds, that have nature walks, picnic areas. A lot of them are on some type of water, a lake. We go out there a lot. We'll get a cup of coffee and go hang out. Lotta and McDowell are two of our favorites. Lotta's awesome because it's got Quest. The Raptor Center's up there. It's right on the water. Hanging out, we love Camp North End is a favorite that is very family friendly. I think sometimes people are like, can I bring my kids there? And there's a ton to do there. We love the new Suffolk Punch in South Park, and then Soul Food Meat Co. in NoDa has I think the most family friendly patio in Charlotte. So we love that. And then the Whitewater Center. They have a lot of great events. That's some of our favorite to just go up to and hang out, live music. Kids can run around and watch all that's going on there too. So a lot of favorites.
I love it. Literally, you just rattled those off perfectly. You can see exactly why she is the guide to Charlotte for families, for sure. So,
Thank you.
How do you also stay really present? Because, you want to be there for your kids, and you want to not just be there necessarily for the content, but still share that story of that amazing place. So what do you do to stay present?
Yeah, and I think that's been kind of a journey for me in becoming a content creator and it being so focused on my family. I think when I first started, I struggled with that a bit. We would go out to an activity and I knew I wanted to film our experience and gather all the footage that I needed. And it would be hard to be present, to be honest. I mean, I think I struggled with, I want to enjoy this with my kids, but I also want to make sure that I'm getting everything that the moms and, parents would want to see. So that was something that I feel like the first few months especially was a little bit difficult. But now I think I've just learned throughout the experience that, hey, number one for me is it being an authentic experience for my kids. Because most of these are truly just a way for us to go have fun. The bonus is that I then get to share it and film it and help other parents. So I might film the first 10 minutes and then put my phone in my pocket and experience it with my kids. I try to plan out things a little bit better that way, or I'll just film like any mom would film. I will think, okay, they're having a lot of fun doing this particular thing. I'm going to get my camera out because it's fun. And then that is more authentic than if I was, maybe pre-planning exactly what I was going to get anyway. And I think people appreciate that it's, hey, that really looks like what the experience would be. And I think my kids appreciate that too. And I've also talked to them about what I do. I've explained, okay, this is why I'm filming. This is, we're going to go and I'm going to try to make sure that I get some shots, but then it's just fun time for us and I'll show them my videos. Thankfully, they love it. They'll typically ask, hey, can I see the video you put together about the place that we went last week? And I always just share that my goal is to help. So even on the way to school this morning, actually, my daughter was looking at a video that I posted and she was like, I think that's going to be really helpful. And that, the fact that she sees that has been great. So it's been, I think, a learning experience and a journey for me along the way.
That's huge for your own kids to compliment you on your content. That is awesome to say, hey, this is helpful.
Yes.
Wow. And, I love also, we had talked about this earlier, you have a journalism background. So is that helping you with your content creation now?
I think so. It's interesting to think about that because I didn't end up going the journalism route. And I think it's easy to feel a little bit of that. Gosh, am I using my major? Was that, it can feel a little bit like you hope it wasn't a waste. And I know it wasn't. But when I started doing content creation, especially started doing the voiceovers and the editing, I immediately went back to everything I learned in journalism school. So a lot of
Exactly.
times when people ask, they're like, "Did you have a background in this before?" And I'll say, "Not really, but I did have the schooling, and it is kind of cool to come full circle and feel like I'm really able to use a lot of that stuff." And I always loved editing. I mean, it's my favorite part of content creation now. I actually love after I've gone out putting it all together.
How long does it take you, though? People don't realize how long it takes to put all these clips together.
Yes, it's very time intensive. Yes. I mean, I am one of those that before I did this, looked at the, perfectly put together videos and thought, I mean, how hard is, it's hard to wrap your mind around what would go into it when you're not really doing it. But yes, I mean, it can take a few hours sometimes. I mean, it really depends on what the content is, but it is very time intensive, especially when you also add on, for what I do, going out to the activity itself and typically getting a lot of footage and then needing to narrow that down. I enjoy that piece of it, but it is, I mean, and it takes, you've got to really invest the time into it and, make sure that you dedicate what needs to be done to really get that great video at the end.
And you do a great job of it. We love it. And
thank
those
you.
voiceovers too, and having that voice and that presence, that's even a part of journalism too, the communication side of it.
It is, yes. And I think I love them because you can communicate so much more via voiceover. I do a mix, some just audio or music, but I think especially as a busy mom out there as my audience, sometimes you need to hear it all. Maybe you're driving in the car, you can hear it, and that just makes it a little bit easier than maybe reading a caption.
100%.
Yeah.
And then kind of last thing I'd love to go over is, do you have any uplifting advice or things that you want to share that maybe you haven't shared already on your Instagram with your followers? Is there something about you that you want people to know too?
Man, I think starting House of Hensen was something that I saw an opportunity for something that I needed that I didn't see out there, right? So it was, I'm a mom, COVID is starting, things are starting to open up a little bit. I need ideas for things to do, and I'm not really finding the resource out there that's for me in particular. And I started sharing, and it's hard, I think, for anybody out there that's maybe interested in content creation or starting a business or doing something that feels really scary. It felt scary to me, but I also felt this huge pull. I mean, it felt at that time when I just started sharing playgrounds that we went to. I kept it very simple, and I thought, I don't know if anybody will look at this, but I'm just going to start sharing. And, I started getting great feedback and people saying, this is so helpful. This is exactly what I need. And I knew it was what I was meant to do. And I'm so glad that I took the leap and continued to share. It is hard to put yourself out there online or even just take a risk of starting a business. But if you feel it in your gut and you follow your gut, and then I always try to go back to, I started this to help other families with something that I also needed help with. And if you keep your eye on that goal, and when I'm thinking about doing certain opportunities or certain things, I try to go back to that. Does this align with ultimately why I started this? And if it does, then great. So I would just say go for it. If you feel that feeling as an entrepreneur of, okay, I've got something here and I think I should go for it.
And I love that you followed that calling, because you've been able to help so many people in Charlotte, which is why we have you on Everybody in
you.
Charlotte today. So
Thank you.
once again, thank you so much. At House of Hensen, Jessica Hensen, make sure you guys go check her out. We are at Everybody Studios right now. If you want to host your own podcast, or maybe you just want to do some ideation to think about what kind of podcast you want to do, Everybody Studios is the place to do it. But thank you so much. I'm Meredith Dean. We'll have another episode of Everybody in Charlotte next week.